On the surface, John Force and Ron Capps appear to be polar opposites. Dig deeper and they couldn't be more alike, just different generations. Both are outgoing and love people. If music in their souls, it's Elvis and country for John, rock and roll for Ron. Both are fathers of daughters. Both went through their bologna sandwich periods, and both have the unexplainable ability to take a funny car to the edge of control. And they both won the Winston Championship.
I've got me and Tony. That's two of us. That leaves how many? That leaves 13 plus Capps. Capps has 13 teammates to get me and Tony. Now, Capps, we're just going to see how good you are.
Once again, it's John Force, and it always boils down to John Force. He's, you know, we've won 5 races, and he's won, I think, 2, and he's in the points lead, and just shows you what you need to do. You got to be consistent. And we've stumbled a few times, and we're right back in the hunt. But John Force is John Force.
You know what? This is spooky. I followed John Force's logic. Here's the Castrol car. That's Austin Coyle looking over and tells this guy, let's go get him. Dale Creasy Jr. on the far side, number 16 in a very quick funny car field. Could he pull the upset? Nope. Force gets the win at 496. Creasy was right there all the way at 510, but John marches on. Ron Capps now needs to do the same to keep pace with the champion. That's the Copenhagen Chevrolet, Don Prudhomme, Roland Leong. The Brain Trust that go back a long way. The NEC Communications car. Castrol 4-second club member Gary Densham in the far lane. Could he spring the upset? Capps gets the win at 499, and he marches on, and Steve and Laura caught up with the big 2.
So John Force survives a scare in round number 1 with the Creasy kid, far off his performance from yesterday of 478 back into the 490s. And John, the car is running really, really well.
Well, it has been real consistent. That's what it's going to take here. You've seen all the 90s out there. It's going to have to win this race.
You would love to back up the record you've already established. You need a 483 with a 4 to do it.
Well, that's really critical to do that.
4 points.
Yeah, and that's critical too. But right now we've got to win rounds. I got the whole pack shooting at us, and I want a shot at Hoffman sometime this weekend, and I want a shot at Capps. I want to just get this over with. We'll just see how good they are.
He's aggressive today.
This car is the best chance to topple John Force from his mountain, and it's a car whose chassis was completely rebuilt after a huge wheel stand at Memphis. Ron, you haven't had an easy time chasing John.
No, John Force is a reason he's a 7-time champ, and that's why. You get him cornered, and he comes out swinging. But our car broke a crankshaft first round, and should have run a lot better than that. The car should have ran a mid-80, so we're going to throw everything we can. We're going to be here all day. He's not going to get rid of us that easy.
And Stevie's got Del Worsham in the second round that he's beat 3 times this year, so the odds are good.
Man, in the interest of fair reporting, Capps, Force, Hoffman, all on the same side of the ladder. John just may get his wish here today in front of this capacity crowd. There are some other tidbits in the funny car wars. You heard Steve talk about Force's bonus. He ran 478 in qualifying. Chance to win $50,000 from the MBNA folks. He will also get 20 points or 1 round of competition. I don't know which he wants more, the cash or the points. And we mentioned the Castrol 4-second club. Tip of the cap to Tom Hoover's Pioneer car. He not only joined the 4-second club to round it out after 5 years of trying, but he ran twice in the 4-second range. Well, what does Tony Pedregon want to be if and when he ever grows up? Let's find out.
I took a lot of architectural drafting in high school, and always wanted to be some type of engineer. I always thought I was somewhat creative, so probably an architect, definitely some desk job.
TNN's exclusive coverage of the 13th annual Revell Nationals is brought to you by the more than 2,500 AutoZone stores across America. AutoZone, the best parts in auto parts.
Welcome back, everybody, to TNN Motorsports. The folks here at the racetrack, of course, know that Force and Capps have advanced, and so do you if you were paying attention. Let's take a look at the rest of the ladder for round number 1 of Fuel Funny Car. Great matchups coming up. There's that 4-second Tom Hoover along with Al Hoffman. Tony Pedregon could work out well for John Force. He's on the same side of the ladder as Ron Capps. The B-side, some great matchups. Cruiser hanging tough again. Glenn Michaels doing a nice job with Paul Groton's car. Etchels and Epler, and Whit Bazemore and Tim Wilkerson, about as good a matchup as you're going to get in the opening round of competition. Back in round number 1, we have talked about Cruz Pedregon. He would meet up with Glenn Michaels. That's the Paul Groton car. Paul out of Florida, raced some Federal Mogul cars for a while. Glenn Michaels has driven a myriad of cars, including one for the late Joe Paisano. Has he got enough savvy here to take out the big green machine? The Interstate Batteries car is tough, qualified in the 480s. Cruz by a car length, 494 to a 509. Big top end speed for the green car at 315 miles an hour. Dale Worsham looking for his first win in a long while, but having a great season. The Checker Shucks Cragen car wants to stay in the top 10. Castrol's Tony Pedregon. That's the team car for John Force. See if he can advance, go to the next round, and help the boss. That's why they pay Tony the big bucks. Somebody apparently forgot to tell that to Dale Worsham, the kid from Southern California, a big first-round win.
What a fine, fine job to beat a Force team car. That's huge.
I'll tell you what, we're real excited here. You know, we're barely hanging on the top 10 right now. That round there is going to help us a lot. Still didn't quite make a full run, but the Checker Shucks Craig and Pontiac is getting closer.
Couple of 490s this weekend for the kid. Not bad. Big Jim Dunn getting ready to send Randy Anderson into battle. Randy won here at the spring race last year. Has had a tough 1998, the Parts America car, against Dean Scusa, the Matco car, coming off that great win at Maple Grove just a couple of weekends ago. On board with Randy, on board with Scusa, out in front with Scusa, winning with Scusa, 4.91, he gets the win. Let's go to the pit area and an update with Laura Bird.
Tom Hoover's funny car is the last and illustrious member of the Castrol 4-Second Club. Tom, you've had an up and down year. You've had some good moments too, but how does this triumph affect your feelings about not racing next year?
Well, not driving, it really hurts, but I got a young driver, Corey Lee, going to drive, and it was especially fun today in Dallas. I ran here a lot of years of my career with my father, 92 years old, watching me go 490. We're going to have a great weekend, and I can hardly wait to see what happens today, and next year we'll take it as it comes.
2 quarterbacks in the field.
You got it. Let's see what happens.
It's amazing how your perspectives change. They had never run a 4 before this weekend. Ran one and came up and ran a second one and were disappointed they didn't go in the 480s like a bunch of cars did, like Al Hoffman in the near lane did. Al Hoffman buries him right here with low ET of the round, a sparkling 485, 317 miles an hour at the GM Performance Parts Pontiac. Wow, great round 1. Hey, John Force, you're getting your wish. You got Al in the next round. Dale Worsham would try to end the day for Ron Capps in the Copenhagen car. Flip side of the ladder, we're going to take a look at that Dean Scusa as he would get it on with Cruz Pedregon, Chuck Etchels, and Whit Bazemore. Let's get down to the pit area and find out what Al Hoffman thinks of this next matchup. Steve?
2 weeks ago in Memphis at the Pennzoil Nationals, Al Hoffman snuck up on John Force in round number 2 and delivered a knockout punch. With that 485 in the first round, you're pretty well out of the closet here.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to do much sneaking around on John anymore, but I'm just happy for the whole team after the season we've had and my sponsors sticking with me, GM Performance Parts Pontiac, and everybody that stayed here. I mean, this is what we needed.
When you beat John, it's like you hit the lottery.
Yeah, without a doubt. That's a home run for me. That's like winning the world championship for him.
A lot of carnage here, though. This isn't coming cheap, this performance.
No, it probably looks worse than it is. We've been black in number 2 main, which I can live with that. It's not a major expense to fix, but we got plenty of motors to go to the end anyhow.
John Force and Al Hoffman. The fans will love it. Laura Bird.
That will be as good a matchup as we have in our sport, Force and Hoffman. Coming up Saturday on TNN Salute to Motorsports, it's a critical Busch Grand National race for Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Matt Kenseth. The championship is on the line. Don't miss the AC Delco 200 live from Rockingham, 2 p.m. Eastern, right here on TNN Motorsports. Wonder what Ron Capps wants to be when he grows up. I'm going with rock singer. Yeah, Capps definitely wants to be with the band.
I always want to be a bull rider. Gary Lefeview, a guy on the Central Coast, a friend of my dad's, he was a world champion, and it sounds weird now, but I watched them guys back then. I thought, man, I'd really like to be a bull rider. I guess it shows I haven't gotten much smarter, have I?
Little something to educate and inform you. Bob Glidden won his 50th here in '86. He beat Warren Johnson, who fouled out in the finals. In typical Glidden fashion, Bob was #1 qualifier, low ET, and top speed of the event. There's a list of all the other races where Bob Glidden has done well, all except for those 1988 stuff. Welcome back, everybody, to this year's version of the Revell Nationals. And talking about Warren Johnson, he is the Winston champ. Laura Bird sat down with him earlier this weekend.
You're looking at the car of Warren Johnson, who has just locked up his 4th NHRA Winston Championship in Pro Stock. You told me you were a late bloomer, Warren. What did you mean by that?
Well, you asked in how many years I've won these, and I said in the last 5 or 6 years, so I just got started at this.
How much fun is this for you?
It's absolutely the best job in the world. This is I don't think I could enjoy doing anything better than what I'm doing right now.
You know, most guys your age are doing something a little more dignified and a little less exciting.
Well, that's a matter of perspective is what that really is. I don't think this is not, boring by any stretch of the imagination.
How does having 3 races to go with a championship locked up affect you out there on the line?
Well, it really doesn't affect us at all because what we really don't change our game plan at all. We're trying to continue on with the same approach that got us in this position, and that hopefully will carry on to next year.
Just smile a little more and a few less gray hairs?
I don't know if there's such a thing as a few less gray hairs in this business.
Good luck out there.
Thank you very much, Laura.
How good is Warren? He has won a race every year since 1982, qualified for every race since '87. Wow. There was a lot of other Pro Stock news that these fans learned about this weekend. Of course, WJ with the record, 6.867. First time, by the way, in anybody's memory, all 4 pro records went down the chute here this weekend. Lots of speed, 199 miles an hour for about half a dozen cars, but nobody's been in the 200-mile-per-hour range besides Warren. And 5 different brands. Name them: Ford, Chevy, Pontiac, Oldsmobile, and Dodge. That's the best of the year on the NHRA Winston Drag Racing Tour. Let's take a look at the ladder in round number 1 of Pro Stock competition. Of course, WJ would be sitting in the catbird seat. He would take on Texan Bruce Allen. Look at Martino and Osborne. Good matchup. Jake Coughlin and Kurt Johnson duking it out for number 2 on the same side of the ladder. On the B side, we got the Cowboy, Mark Powick. Hey, look at Alan Johnson. That's the Dodge right there in the 15 slot. There's the Ford, Robert Patrick at number 10. It was a great qualifying effort. A whole pile of cars ran 6s and didn't get into the show. On board with Jake Coughlin back in round number 1. Jag a couple of points up on Kurt, looking for that number 2 spot. Steve Schmidt in the Dynagear car. Been up and down and all over the place this year. It is a very good race car, an awful lot of power. He qualified at 694, just shy of 199. Board with Jag. A little problem handling at the top end. Almost lost the car, but he won the round. 706 beat Steve 704.
For some reason, the car just drifted toward the center line about going into 5th gear, and felt it break loose a little bit and was trying to pull it back, and the left tire was just driving it to the center line, and just tried to keep it under control, and got fortunate without a doubt.
That was close.
Warren Johnson, your number 1 qualifier against the Outlaw. That's the Pennzoil Additives team of Bruce Allen, the Rare and Morrison team machine. And still our best wishes to Buddy Morrison for his health. Legends in this sport. The Texas gang, been without a win for a while, would love to steal one in the opening round from WJ. Could they do it? But not without trying. 698 for Allen, but Warren a little bit too much. Got the win at 693.
A nice 693, but compare conditions today to the past 2 days.
Well, it's relative altitude, which is the air that the engine is looking on, these naturally aspirated engines, is up about probably 500 or 600 feet, so we've lost maybe 2% horsepower on these things. Coupled with the track is a little bit warmer, so it tends to be a little slicker out there.
680s are gone for the day?
I wouldn't rule that out towards the end of the day.
Okay.
I wouldn't rule it out when WJ's out there. Laura Bird stopped by and visited the Cowboy, Mark Powick.
They call Mark Powick the Cowboy, and here in Texas, that may be exactly what he is with his 688 and a career best. Mark, you got to be feeling good about Texas.
It's just awesome. This car's just been flying this weekend. We made 2 great runs, 2 of our best ever, and Summit Racing and Pontiac and my crew and the guys at the engine shop, they've been awesome.
Alan Johnson, the Team Amoco Dodge Avenger, qualifies in the number 15 spot. He gets the Cowboy in the opening round. Mopar, by the way, a week from Monday. Big announcement about their team for next year. Stay tuned right here on TNN Motorsports. We'll tell you all about it. Look at the arithmetic. Left side of the screen at the top. Bad news, Mark Powick. Way quicker on the track, but his 696 could not run down Alan Johnson's 703. Oh, Mark, what happened?
Well, Mark Powick trying to walk that one off. And, Mark, it's pretty brutal on your psychic when you take a 698 and kind of throw it away.
Sure is, Steve. We ran really good Friday and Saturday. I got handed to my crew. I just really been struggling driving this year, and I'm beating myself up. And I knew Alan was going to be tough. You know, he hasn't qualified all year, and he had nothing to lose, and he went for it, and he got me. And I don't know. I'm trying real hard. Maybe sometimes I'm trying too hard.
Maybe.
The Summit car was running very well this weekend, but the nature of the beast, one goes on and one goes home. Martino would take on WJ, see if he can stop that juggernaut. Hey, Coughlin, Kurt battling it out. They would meet in round number 2. The other side of the ladder would have, how about a Chrysler Johnson against the Ford Patrick, and Richie Stevens with a good opening round, 699. Would take on Jim Yates, who ran 694, and he's looking for his first win since Pomona is Jim Yates. Everyone loves trucks. Hey, sounds like a new show on TNN coming up right after the Dukes. No one loves trucks more than the NHRA Winston drag racing fans. And that's why they like the 1998 season, because the NHRA Winston Pro Stock Truck Eliminator is so hot.
Flashback to Labor Day weekend and the U.S. Nationals. Larry Kopp was sitting on top of the world, at least the Pro Stock truck portion. The Maryland driver had won 4 of the first 8 events for NHRA's newest category, and a Winston championship seemed a certainty. But since then, destiny has turned to disaster. A DNQ at Topeka, a red light loss at Memphis, coupled with a hot streak by John Lingenfelder, and the Pro Stock truck pickups are now enjoying a 2-truck tussle for the title.
That should read after 10 of 12 races. This would be number 11. Everybody that knew that, raise your hand. Look, that Cowboy fan there. Cowboys are off today, so they get to come out to the races and enjoy some really good sports. Let's take a look at the ladder here for the Pro Stock trucks. I want you to look at this first side. The only guy out of those 8 that has never won a national event, Brad Jeter in the number 4 slot. That is a heavyweight side of the ladder. Over on the other side, they're not exactly dogs either. There's the Canadian kid, Mike Mahorn, in the number 15 spot, as he would try to take out Randy Daniels. Haas and Lingenfelder, great matchup. Coughlin and Nickens, man, you could get a matchup like that in almost any eliminator out here this weekend. Back in round number 1 of the truck category, John Lingenfelder in the Summit Racing truck. Jerry Haas on the far side. Haas has done everything but win one of these this year. Lingenfelder almost perfect out of the gate. Could not hold off the S10 of Jerry Haas, who ran him down at 7:69 and got the win. Jason Baffrey caught up with the truck guys.
John, some tough battles between you and Jerry Haas, and a first-round loss is not really what you needed in this Winston points chase.
No, that's for sure.
What happened out there?
I got beat. Pretty simple.
A man of few words. Ronnie Sox, one of the real legends in our sport. Running the Sox and Martin, red, white, and blue. Team truck in the near lane. Tim Freeman to challenge. Great runner. Freeman won the whole shooting match in St. Louis. He would not win this as Ronnie Sox gets his first round win of the season, and Jason Baffrey caught up with a very happy legend.
A true legend in the sport of drag racing, Ronnie Sox taking a round win in the Pro Stock truck. Great run.
Oh, you mean I actually won? It was so close I couldn't tell. He was out on me a little bit, and it seemed like I caught him right there at the end. I was really loose in that lane, but I hung with it.
Another legend, they're everywhere. Dino Don Nicholson would take on Larry Kopp. That's the G-Force machine. Kopp ran 7:59 in qualifying. He set the record. Everybody set records in the pro classes. Dino Don smoking a bit, but not smoking nearly as much as Larry Kopp. The Indy champ looking for that first ever national title gets the win.
The one thing that you, Larry Kopp, need to do today is go rounds, especially now that John Lingenfelter is out of the picture.
Yeah, this is our chance to make up ground that I messed up on the last couple races, and I just hope we can come through for everybody. It helped me.
Looks a little slippery out there.
Well, we just got loose a little bit, and it shook a little bit, and I just kept it under control, and I just stayed in my lane and just ran my race and hope we can go to the next round.
The ladder, Kopp and Grant Lewis. There's that Jeter guy. Got around Nickens and Ronnie Sox. You know him as the legend. Daniels took out May and the Canadian Ford kid. Haas, Pinella, and yes, Nickens all advanced into round number 2. Let's check it out. Randy Daniels is running. He would meet up with Jerry Haas, the flagship for the Chevy S10 pickups. Jerry Haas, who raced a comp car, has raced pro stock, taking on Daniels, whose dad was a former Winston champion comp eliminator. The kid can flat out drive a race truck. Out of the gate, is that enough? Nope. Jerry Haas, 7:72, caught him at the stripe. Daniels had problems. He's slowed, and Jason caught up with Jerry Haas.
After a little activity on the starting line, almost identical reaction times, you take the win, 7:72 to a 7:76.
Well, I tell you what, we had a heck of a time hanging on the track there. All weekend we've had problems getting down, and this OS10 Chevy, did a great job today. The crew did a tremendous job, and thank God we got down there and got the W. Randy did a heck of a job, too.
Laura Bird stopped in the pit area and visits the guy that will next try to stop Larry Kopp.
For Pro Stock truck driver Grant Lewis, the third time may be the charm time. Not only is he in his third truck this season, but he's been up against Craig Eaton in the first round now 3 times, except this time he won. And that takes you to the second round with lane choice over Larry Kopp. Grant, how important is that?
Lane choice means a lot, and we got to run Larry Kopp. He's the record holder. He's your points leader. He's the man, but we're going after him.
So look out, Larry. Here they come.
Grant Lewis qualified in the top half of the field at 7:68. That's the Ray Bestis team machine. Looks just like Larry Morgan's car in the pro category. Larry Kopp, when he is on, there might not be another truck out here that can run with him. As I said, he qualified in the 750 range, over 176 miles an hour. Lewis on the far side. Larry Kopp trying to add to that points lead, or keep the points lead, in the near lane. Great matchup. That's why the fans love the Pro Stock trucks. 767 beats a 769. The winner, Larry Kopp, goes to the semis. On board with David Nickens. He won the first ever Pro Stock truck title. He won it from Mopar. He won it in his home state of Houston. Would love to win another one here in Texas. Pinella, runner-up at Indy. Winner at Memphis, out of that great, legendary Pinella family from California. Dodge in the near lane, Chevy S10 on the far side. You got to shift them. That's the rules. Top end. Who's going to shift into the next round? Piniella. 765 to a 7.70. The Chevys marching on. I mentioned Brad Jeter, one of the very few guys on his side of the field that had never won a national event. Ronnie Sox was winning national events before Brad was doing, well, much of anything. Brad Jeter's got one of the best, quickest, fastest trucks in the field. Sox would give him a run, but come up short. Brad Jeter looking for that elusive first ever win. Got the nod at 766 to a 74 for Sox.
766 gives you lane choice over number 1 qualifier Larry Cobb.
Well, you know, we'll just take this deal one round at a time and hope we can get to the finals. And we lost there in Memphis, but 3,000 in the finals, and that sure would be great to come here and win this deal.
The pairings for our final 4 here in front of the standing room only crowd at the Revell Nationals in Pro Stock Truck. Jeter, Cobb, lane choice to Brad Jeter. How about that? He got it by just 100th of a second. And the other pair, it's going to be Haas and Piniella. Great family names, great racers. Lane choice goes to Bob Piniella. Let's check in with Jerry Haas and Laura Bird.
Robert Patrick's team is homegrown. His car is owned by his dad, who has a Ford dealership in Virginia, and they don't get any help from the manufacturer. As a matter of fact, they've tested this car over 200 times themselves, trying to figure out how to be competitive. And competitive he is. In 1995, he went to the final here against Kurt Johnson, and now in the semifinals against Jim Yates, he says, boy.
We'll catch up more about those Fords, and we'll catch up with Jerry Haas as he'll march into the semifinals. Cobb and Jeter, Haas and Piniella here for the Pro Stock Truck semifinals, and we'll take a look at that in just a little bit. Plus, we got all the fuel stuff coming up as well. You know, there's a lot of great racing activity right here on TNN. Don't forget, next Sunday, you're going to get to see more NASCAR Winston Cup racing. Find out who'll take the chip off the rock in the AC Delco 400. Next Sunday, 12:30 p.m. Eastern on TNN's Salute to Motorsports. Big NASCAR fan, that kid right there, I can tell. Lots of stuff to eat. Take a break. Get a drink while you're up. Bring me something to eat. We'll come back to the Revell Nationals in just a moment.
Texas is truck country, where gun racks and 4x rule and fans flock to see their favorite stump jumpers perform. When you come to the West, you come to meet the people that love their trucks.
And go ahead. There may be as many trucks in the pit area as there are cars. Hey, cotton candy. You know that's the only food you can eat and announce at the same time and nobody knows that you're eating it? It's just made of a lot of hot air. Go figure. They love the racing here at the Texas Motorplex. Let's take a look at that Pro Stock Truck semifinal. There's that Brad Jeter menacing-looking black truck as he is looking to go to the finals here this weekend. He's got a very tough customer, the guy that would be king, Larry Kopp, the G-Force, Armacody's entry here on the near side. The only 750 truck in the ballpark this weekend so far. Jeter out of the gate first. Larry Kopp gets the win. 768. Larry Kopp runs 174 miles an hour and goes into another final round. Here's Bob Piniella Jr., who was in the finals at Indianapolis. He also won the race at Memphis, taking on Jerry Haas, 10-time Carcraft Magazine Chassis Builder of the Year in the near lane. Piniella's got his hands full, and Jerry Haas goes on by, takes advantage to get the win, 773 to a 798. They will go into the finals. It's going to be Kopp and Haas in a great matchup. Larry Kopp by 0.05 of a second will get lane choice. That truck, by the way, failed to qualify here this weekend. Well, qualified for best appearing truck. Championship round, Kopp and Jerry Haas, and that's what's coming up next right here on TNN Motorsports. See if Larry Kopp could pad that lead. Remember, the trucks run on Saturday, so this was Saturday night. Under the Lights, the finals, Cop in the near lane, and Jerry Haas. Runner-up at St. Louis, runner-up at Seattle, looking to win for the first time on the season here at the Revell Nationals. Could he do it? Larry Kopp gets the win and marches towards what he hopes will be that first Winston Championship in Pro Stock Truck.
Larry, 765 to a 772. You did exactly what you needed to do today, taking the win.
We came in here with one plan. We had to win the race. I had to set the national record. We didn't know we'd do either one, but we tried our best. We worked hard at it, and I did a couple things to improve my driving, and hopefully it worked for me. It'll work for the next race, and hopefully this championship will come to us someday, somehow, somewhere.
The points battle goes down to the wire in Pomona.
Larry Kopp and his wife, Susan.
Pro Stock Series or Revell Nationals.
Appreciate it.
Okay. Good luck for next couple rounds.
Thank you.
Yep.
Larry and his wife, Susan, just great folks, and they're out in front with one to go. As you heard Jason say, that will go down to the final race at Pomona. The Winston Finals, you'll see that live right here on TNN. Haas, Pinella, and that Brad Jeter round out the top 5. We're going to take a look at some fuel stuff when we come back after we find out what Gary Scelzi wants to be when he grows up, or what he wants to be.
As a kid, I never thought about money or making a good living. I just always liked motocross racing, and I always thought that'd be a neat way to make a living. I didn't, really care about how much money it made or it didn't. I always liked the dirt bikes.
In the Top Fuel stretch run, the key to the Winston crown lies in the tuning skill of the crew chiefs. And this talented trio knows that for the next 3 races, there are no throwaways. Every run counts, every bit in the parts bin, and every bite on the hard drive could decide the title. Alan Johnson guided Gary Scelzi to the '97 championship. Jim Prock calls the shots for Joe Amato's quest for his 6th crown. And Mike Green coordinates the Corey Mack attack. Each knows this is not a job for the weak of heart.
And I think about it when I wake up in the morning. I think about it in the shower. I think about it when I go to bed. I think about it a lot.
Joe's not going to race a whole lot longer, and if we could get him another championship before he retires, I mean, that'd be great.
I think it's the team. We got a really strong team, and all the guys keep them focused on just doing our jobs and taking it one run at a time, and that kind of helps alleviate the pressure a little bit.
Welcome back, everybody. Great crowd on hand at the Revell Nationals, the Texas Motorplex, just outside of Dallas, Texas. One of the more enjoyable weekends that we have had in quite some time for Top Fuel Racing. Let's take a look at that ladder going into round 2. Scelzi, Hill, Amato, all former Winston champs or currents. Corey Max finished number 2 3 times. On the B side, you're going to get Doug Herbert and Mike Dunn. The red hot Mopar car, Dixon and Doug Coletta, trying to advance into the final 4. We would open up round number 2. There is Doug Herbert, who went down to Shreveport yesterday, won an IHRA National Championship event, wheeled back here, stayed into the field, and he would get Mike Dunn here in this great round number 2 matchup. Spectacular onboard shot with Team Mopar. Mike Dunn, the winner at 460. They got to figure they are due to win one, maybe past due.
In the heat of the day, that's a great run for this Team Mopar Top Fueler. Hats off to the crew. I mean, Ken Vinny and Brett Anderson did a great job. You know, it's kind of greasy out there. We wanted to get down the track. We're actually a little conservative down low, but it hiked the front end up and gave her a little courtesy tug on the brake just to make sure, and still run a 460. We'll be fine.
You can tell he's warming up with a perspiration on his brow.
A little courtesy tug. Here is Team Winston, Gary Scelzi. They ran that 452 in qualifying. They ran 322 a week ago in Topeka. There's Alan Johnson, the crew chief. With his brother Blaine, they were dominant in the alcohol category. They have not missed a beat with Gary Scelzi behind the wheel and fuel. 1993 Winston champ Eddie Hill in the near lane. Good race for a while. Scelzi 457. He would advance to the all-important semifinals.
Gary may have struggled first round, not this round. 457 at 320, baby.
Oh man, I'll tell you what, this is killing me, Steve. I tell you what, this championship deal, it's tough every round, and Eddie is way overdue to, to win a race and definitely to win some rounds. Team Winston's going around. Alan looks like he might have a handle on it. Let's just keep our fingers crossed.
Still to come, Corey Mack and Amato.
If Alan Johnson's got a handle on it, they might as well write that check out right now. Larry Dixon, Don Prudhomme, the Miller Lite MBNA team machine, Doug Coletta, the sparkling rookie from Kitty Hawk, American International, and Team Coletta. Dixon, another great 450 in qualifying. And another 450 in eliminations. 456, 309 miles an hour. The Miller Lite car is looking good. Here's the biggie. Corey Mack, the McDonald's team. They need to pick up the win. They could just about bury Joe Amato with a win right here. Mike Green has done a spectacular job, and so has Jimmy Prock. Prock, captain of the Tenneco Automotive blue car. A car length at the top end. Amato, the winner at 465. Corey out of here at 469. Joe.
Corey Mack just walked over and said, Joe, nice job. Go get him next round. And he's serious.
Well, it's a world championship. NHRA Winston style. Doesn't get any better than this. That was a tough race. We had to do our job, and Jimmy Prock gave me a good hot rod, and all we can do is hope now maybe we can get lucky and put Selzy out and get some momentum here and try and make a championship chase out of it.
To do that, they may need a better hot rod yet. Boy, you hate to lose, but at least you were on the losing end of a great drag race.
Yeah, it really was a good race, and Joe and his guys are really good, and Jimmy Prock, couldn't be more proud of him, but we really needed that one. That's going to hurt.
These folks have been treated to, I think, the best single weekend of racing on the tour for 1998, and they're absolutely looking forward to the Selzy Amato Battle of the Titans in the semi. Selzy gets lane choice. On the flip side, let's not forget Mike Dunn and that 560 scooter of Larry Dixon. Steve Evans sat down with both Joe Amato and Gary Selzy in the pit area. This should be fun.
Joe Amato has come a-calling in the Gary Selzy trailer. Number 1 in points, number 3 in points, meet in the very next round. He's mad at you. You took away his world record. He liked having that.
I know, and I enjoy it too. The Amato record, we're going to call it the Alan Johnson record from now on. I know Snoopy's upset with me, so I'm going to do a little adjusting on him and see if I can't get him in a better mood.
What do you think about this guy?
Well, I think, before that round, they were rooting for me to beat the number 2 in their championship chase, and I did that. I think they should give me this round to make it fun and fair to go to the next race and have fun with it.
You got a gimme in you?
No, I love him, but I'm going to buy him a steak dinner instead.
And this is a kind of musical Snoopy.
Yeah, this is a Snoopy theme song, so I put them looking at their clutch and their tires, so maybe it'll help out. It worked against Bernstein once, so maybe it'll help here. We'll see how lucky Snoopy is.
What we have here is Snoopy against Goofy.
I like that. Steve Evans, absolutely the best. Hey, don't forget, we're going to go down to the next race on the tour just south of here, the Matco Tools Super Nationals. Coming up right here on TNN. It'll be on November 1st, 6 p.m. Eastern, right here on TNN Salute to Motorsports.
Our former TNN colleague, Brock Yates, describes Fuel Funny Cars as Formula Harry. Unlike a dragster, you don't finesse a funny car. You take control, never let it feel your fear, and boss it 1,320 feet.
Another little did you know. Roland Leon, crew chief now, of course, with Ron Capps. Jim White ran 290 miles an hour here at that race. Lost to Al Hoffman in the finals. It was Al's first win. The same race where a guy named Maurice Dupont beat Joe Amato in round 1 at Top Fuel and kept Joe Amato from clinching the Top Fuel title right here at this race. Wow, would history repeat itself? Would somebody clinch? Somebody be kept from clinching? We'll find out. Right now, we turn our attention to funny cars, crew chiefs, and Laura Bird.
They've all been here before. Each knows the tension of a title chase, the pit of the stomach stress brought on by the search for speed. Theirs is a world of counterweight and preload and pneumatic triggers. Computer tracings are their language and time is their religion. Austin Coyle is the legend, a wizard with a wrench, forces foil, and 9 times a kingmaker. On the other side stands Roland Leong, a mechanical mastermind, the fabled Hawaiian, Ron Capps' confidant and compadre. Their drivers get the glory, but these two provide the tools.
We have an awful good team, an awful good driver. We seem to do, better than most everyone else, and we're kind of used to it. So, we don't, feel any great sense of joy when we do good. We feel we're supposed to do good, but we do feel severe pain when we don't, and it's been a very trying season for us, but it ain't over yet.
As long as I've been racing, I feel that I won a lot of national events at different times throughout my career, and the one thing that eluded me was the World Championship. So being so close, yet not having it yet, it's pretty awesome.
It will be a great stretch drive. Look at this, Force and Al Hoffman. I'd pay to see that when Capps takes on the kid from SoCal. That's Del Worsham in the checker, Shucks, Craig and Carr. Cruz trying to sneak in and spoil everybody's day. Dean Scusa's won already. Etchells and Bazemore meet up in a good one. Let's take a look back, and we'll start off with that Etchells-Bazemore matchup. Team Winston, they will get some more help from Chevrolet next year, but they're still looking to sign another big-name sponsor. The Kendall folks have re-up with Chuck Etchells along with Mama Rosa and Super Winch, and it's a battle of Chevrolets here in Texas in round 2 of Funny Car. Bazemore gets very close to the center line, got the win at 492, couple of rounds in a row. Witt almost crossed the line. Steve?
Second round in a row with flirting with disaster, dancing near that center line.
Yeah, well, close is okay as long as we don't hit it. But I tell you, this Winston Camaro, it's an animal, and it's got the front end up at half track. And of course, when the front end's up, it's okay if it's going straight, but if it isn't, we're in trouble. Went over to the right, I corrected it, maybe overcorrected it, but came back across. Had the wheel like this at the finish line, and it's just pushing, but I thought we escaped it. I don't know what they ran, but they're a good team. We're lucky.
You're not a bad team either, Witt. Del Worsham, back in the early 90s, he was a Rookie of the Year. It's hard to believe he's still only in his 20s. Taking on Ron Capps and the Copenhagen team, another Chevrolet right here. Copenhagen, Capps, Leong, Prudhomme. Would prove to be too much for Del Worsham. 5:07. Ron Capps gets the win, but it wasn't awe-inspiring.
Ron, your successes this year have come on less than perfect racetracks. This place is a challenge for you.
Yeah, it sure is. But, we're all racing the same track. With rolling around, look what he's done. He did it to Topeka at 2 in the morning. We won this race here in May without lane choice in the final against Force. Hana Ho. It's Hawaiian for do it again, and that's what we're trying to do right now.
How do you spell Hana Ho? Cruz Pedregon, the Interstate Batteries machine. West Cerny and the boys trying to stop. Maple Grove winner Dean Scusa, the onboard shot in that Mopar Dodge Avenger. Pedregon pops and bangs. Scusa gets the win at 5:02, and the Matco Tools car goes into the semifinals here in the Big D. Getting up underneath the body. Al Hoffman slated to match up with John Force in one of the best matchups you're going to see on the NHRA Winston Drag Racing Trail. Al's car could not fire. Goes over, little words of encouragement to John, says, hey, take that other lane.
We got behind a little bit, and we went to start the motor, and it wouldn't turn over. There was something wrong in a valve train somewhere, and took it apart and fixed that, and then we went to turn it over, and it was a bolt in the blower, and something's not right. We just can't take a chance on it.
What are you going to do, Al? Are you going to pull out and let him have this lane if that's his preference?
Well, I don't think it's going to make much difference. Both lanes are pretty good, but it's just a shame because we had a chance of really going out there and doing something. I felt like we could win this race, and the car was running good, and we're on to something now, but we got 2 left. We'll do the best we can.
Couple of final rounds in a row for Al, a winner, runner-up. All he could do is sit and watch his arch rival and nemesis, John Force, make a single run. And what a a single run, it would be 484 at a brilliant 321 miles an hour. Wow.
No way you wanted that to be a single run. No way.
No, and I didn't. And, I said early, and he was broke, and Hoffman come over and told me, but, the real confusion that really aggravates me is Hoffman come over, shook my hand and said, take that lane and go for it, gave me the lane, we moved over, and then people started screaming that we couldn't and nobody could make a call, they put us back. So, that's aggravating, but this old goal keep working.
Now he's going to get the other half of his wish, Ron Capps next round.
Just shy of backing up that record. He doesn't officially have it yet, nor does he have the 50,000. In the semis, force against Ron Capps. It doesn't get any easier for the champ. And the B-side, pardon the expression, Bazemore with lane choice over Dean Scusa. Dean Scusa's had a great year. He's over in the pit area, and so is Laura Bird.
The Scusa team has accomplished something other teams can't say they've done. They've beat John Force 3 times this year. And Dean, you're not a contender in the Winston points battle for the championship, but you win rounds. You've gone to the semifinals several times. You're just quietly doing your thing behind the scenes.
Yeah, I guess it might surprise a lot of people that we're coming on so strong, but I think the only people that aren't surprised is us, really, because we've had it in us the whole time. It's just a learning curve, It's not easy.
And now you could be a spoiler in the semifinals.
Well, I hate to think of myself like that. Let's just hope we win it and we'll go celebrate in Dallas.
Good luck.
Thanks.
Good old race team, and the folks here just about selling out as souvenirs. Chuck Etchells and his Camaro, great racer, great businessman. Wonder what he wanted to be when he was, well, their age.
Baseball player. I always followed baseball closely, rooted for the Boston Red Sox, obviously. Collected all the trading cards, which my great mom saved for me, and I didn't realize it, in a burlap bag. So I've got about $20,000 worth of baseball cards. Now I love baseball more than ever.
TNN's exclusive coverage of the 13th annual Revell Nationals is brought to you by Mopar, Chrysler Corporation Parts, and the Chrysler, Plymouth, Dodge, Jeep, and Eagle dealers who sell and install them.
Welcome back to the Texas Motorplex, the home of the Revell Nationals. Don't forget tomorrow on TNN Salute to Motorsports, join Neil McCoy and Tracy Bird. They salute 50 years of NASCAR. A great night of racing and rocking tomorrow night at 10 Eastern right here on TNN's Salute to Motorsports. Let's go take a look at some of that pro stock action as they were getting set to line up for round number 2. Warren Johnson still coming out of that number 1 spot. He had advanced into the second round where he would match up with the Jersey boy, Tom Martino. Coughlin and Kurt might settle something for the number 2 spot right there. It's the Ford against the Dodge as Alan Johnson and Robert Patrick would meet. Stevens and Jim Yates in a great matchup. Let's go take a look at some of that round 2 action. The aforementioned Robert Patrick on the far side with the Ford. Alan Johnson, the Team Amoco Dodge Avenger in the near lane. Been a long while since we've seen this car on race day. Or this car. Johnson first out of the gate, but by a car length. Hey, Ford fans, Robert Patrick, 703, gone to the semifinals here in Dallas.
The only Ford privateer pro stock car in drag racing goes to the semifinals. Congratulations, Robert.
I tell you what, it's been a tough 2 years over here. I just want to thank my mom and dad, and want to thank him for hanging in here with this deal because we've had very, very limited backing from Ford, and we're just trying to do this for all the Ford fans, and we're Ford dealers, and we want to try to keep this Ford over here racing.
You listening, Detroit?
The AC Delco Chevrolet. That is Kurt Johnson. He's got Jake Coughlin out of the Jake's mail order shop in the far lane. 5 points separate him in the battle for the number 2 slot. This is a biggie right here. Wow. Kurt Johnson fouls out. Jake Coughlin gets the win at $6.99. A big round. Not the biggest of the year, but certainly very big for Jake Coughlin.
Jake, Kurt pulled the trigger a little too quick, or he might have covered your $6.99.
Yeah, we're running awful good out here. We just had a little mishap first round, and Kurt, without a doubt, knew we were going to be tough, and I think I hit the tree pretty good, so he'd have had his hands full.
That'll help him for points to stay in second place.
In the interest of fair reporting, Kurt ran a 6.97. in the interest of fair reporting, it's also academic. There's the kid, Richie Stevens, gunning for Rookie of the Year honors. That's the Sean Collins team. Here's Jim Yates, hasn't won since Pomona earlier this season. The champ against the kid. The kid out first. The champ gets there first. 6.95, edges out of 6.99. Jim Yates to the semis against the Ford car.
For sure, this track is not getting any better. That was pretty darn impressive in 95.
95, that's pretty good. I think he made a better run that lap, really. Felt like it was a little soft on clutch, but, you know, we knew Richie's going to be tough. Really proud of the Split Fire Peak team. I tell you, they've done a great job. Bob Ingles and everybody over there, Rich Purdy. I'm proud of them.
And you should be. That is a good old race car and a good old race team. Warren Johnson and Tom Martino as they come to the starting line right now. WJ looking for another sweep, trying to win it from the pole. That's the Jessel Valve Train car. Former Bob Benza entry in the far lane. Martino out first. Warren no slouch. Warren too much race car at the stripe. He gets the win at 6.93 and goes to the semifinals at 200 miles an hour.
Jim Yates thought his 6.95 was pretty good until he saw your 93 at 200.
Well, it was a little bit better run than we made the first time. We were a little too soft, and this time I think we got a little too aggressive. It spun pretty hard on the starting line.
Nice work.
4 200-mile-an-hour runs for Warren and the rest of the Pro Stock class combined. Semis, WJ against Jag. Hey, beat my kid, will you? I'll show you. We'll see who shows whom. In the other semis, how about Jim Yates against Robert Patrick and the Ford car? Larry Morgan drives the very bestest Chevrolet. Wonder if he always wanted to be a Pro Stock racer.
I think I'd like to have been a NASCAR driver, but I'm not sure my physique, I could have handled the endurance of driving for 500 miles at 200 mile an hour. I don't think I could handle that the way I'm built.
How tough has the Pro Stock war been here at the Revell Nationals? Consider this. 9 drivers ran in the 6-second zone and did not qualify. The 16-car field is made up of 5 different manufacturers.
Let's take a look at the semifinals in Pro Stock here at the Revell Nationals at the Texas Motorplex. Great matchups, too. Warren Johnson against Jag. Robert Patrick against Jim Yates. The Purvis, Ford, Lincoln, Mercury entry. Robert Patrick went to the finals here in 1995. Last final win for a Ford, Bob Glidden, Englishtown, in 1995 when that Ford beat Jim Yates. Not today. Jim Yates in the split fire car goes to the finals looking for his first win since Pomona, as hard as that may be to believe. And we would find out if he would match up with WJ or Jay Coughlin. Warren again, pretty quick out of the gate. Too much race car at the top end. It's a classic. WJ Yates in the finals in Pro Stock. Steve?
Well, Bob, the last time that WJ faced Jim Yates in a final run was clear back in March in Gainesville, Florida at the Gator Nationals. He not only beat Yates, he took away the national record that Yates had set earlier in that weekend, cost him $50,000. You went out here Friday night a little reluctant to reset that record.
Well, I really didn't want to reset the record because we already had the championship sewed up, and we didn't need the 20 Winston points for the record. Let's save it for next year. But then again, if we didn't set it down, then it's probably available for somebody else to set next year. You know, those things are awful hard to get to run consistently fast, and being able to set the record, I guess, when you got the opportunity to do it, might as well do it.
Well, Laura Bird, over here, they think they have what it takes to take the measure of Jim Yates.
Well, Steve, the words arch nemesis come to mind because Jim Yates hasn't forgotten losing back-to-back in the final round to Warren. And Jim, if anybody can take Warren out, we know it's you.
You know, I think he's beat us enough this year. You know, Rich Purdy and Bob Ingles and the whole crew have got the split fire Pontiac running real good. I think we're up to give that guy a battle here in the final.
So there you go, Steve. Get ready for a battle.
As good a matchup as we have right now in Pro Stock competition. Warren Johnson, Jim Yates, WJ pitching a shutout so far here in 1998. Don't think that Jim Yates doesn't know that. Don't forget, coming up tonight, there's a great lineup of exciting hunting and fishing shows on TNN. It all starts after the Revell Nationals with Buckmaster at 7:30 p.m. Eastern on TNN Outdoors. Warren Johnson in the finals. Kurt Johnson's not. I got a feeling Kurt Johnson always knew he would be a pro stock racer.
We had a good friend up in Minnesota. His name was Larry Joel. He was an ophthalmologist up there, and we'd go out on the lake, stop offshore, get something to eat, big steak. Had the kind of house, kind of lifestyle I think I might enjoy it.
Next Sunday on TNN Salute to Motorsports, the pretenders have now been separated from the contenders. Only a few drivers have a shot at the NHRA Winston Championship. The pressure builds as teams look to shave off 1,000th of a second that could give them the title. From Houston Raceway Park, it's the Matco Tools Super Nationals. Next Sunday at 6 Eastern, 3 Pacific. A part of TNN's Salute to Motorsports.
Promotional consideration provided for and a fee paid by this special offer from Diamond D.
And they walked away 5. The most intense racing action on asphalt, dirt, and water. It's nonstop excitement to thrill the entire family. And they walked away 5 puts you in the driver's seat for the high-speed thrills of NHRA, monster trucks, NASCAR, boats, and more. Call 1-800-507-1800 now, and you'll receive Top Fuel Sensations absolutely free. Experience the exciting sights, sounds, and smells of America's fastest sport. Over 2 hours of exciting racing action for only $19.95. Call 1-800-507-1800 now.
Welcome back, everybody. We're getting set for final round action here in just a bit on the Revell Nationals at Dallas, Texas. A couple of other semis to settle up. Hey, remember this week on TNN Salute to Motorsports, join host Jeff Gordon for all kinds of motorsport specials, profiles on racing's pioneers, and rock as country music celebrates 50 years of NASCAR. Plus, you'll see critical points races in Winston Cup, Busch Grand National, and NHRA. TNN Salute to Motorsports coming up all this week. Let's go back and take a look at the final 4 here in Fuel Funny Car. Dean Scusa and Whit Bazemore. The Dodge from Matco in the far lane. The Chevrolet from Team Winston on the near side. Bazemore's got problems for the first time this weekend. They could not have come at a more inopportune moment as Dean Scusa gets the win and goes to his second final in the last 4 races. Would he meet up with John Force or Ron Capps? A monster matchup. This is a 40-point swing in the run for the title. John Force wins it at 4.90, 319 miles an hour. Let's catch up with Ron Capps.
Well, Ron, I guess we can file that under missed opportunity.
Yeah, I don't know what happened, but hey, you want to be the champ, you got to beat the champ, and we've been fighting problems all weekend long. It is not over. We're going to Houston, we're going to Pomona. He's only, even if he wins a race, he gains a little bit more, but hey, look what happened in Topeka. We turned things around there, and we'll be fine.
It'll be a good stretch drive. Let's catch up now with Steve and the guy that just took out Ron Capps.
Well, Bob, a potential problem in the John Force pits. They started the motor, as they always do, to warm it up. Some strange vapors, as they described it, coming out of a couple of cylinders. So the spark plugs are coming out. They're going to do a leak down test. Hopefully they don't have to take it back apart at John. But, John, they'll get that fixed. But going up against Scusa, you also want to back up that record for 20 points and 50 grand.
Well, that's what we can make a move here on Capps right now. And a lot of money there, but we got to try to win this round. We know they can step up and run, and we're excited it was a problem, but Coyle looks okay, so okay.
They'll get it. Don't worry about it. We hope they do. Laura, how you doing on your end?
Well, Steve, contrary to your end, it's very calm here. In fact, Scusa's people are polishing his car with window cleaner. This young man tried to tell me earlier he was on a learning curve, but what a learning curve. You've already beat John Force in the final round at the Pioneer Keystone Nationals. Now, tell me, Dean, how you feel going into this.
I feel real good. I mean, we dropped cylinders twice here. If we can run on all 8, I think we could take out John. But, I mean, I like racing John, win or lose, like I've said before, because he's the best. And it's the way you really can measure yourself as a driver, as a whole team out here, is going up against the best.
And speaking of the best, Bob, he's beat Al Hoffman. He's beat everybody, all the old guys, Whit Bazemore, everybody who's anybody here has been beat by Dean Scusa.
You know, I like the same thing that we heard from Capps and Scusa. You want to be the man, you got to beat the man, and he will line up against the man in the finals. Look at this. Not too many guys can say they have an edge on John Force in the 1998 season, but Dean Skuza can. The kid in the Matco Tools car who won at the Matco Tools race last year in Houston, where we will be next week on TNN, trying to punch out Force for the second time in a row in a final round right here on TNN Motorsports. Don't go away. More coming up from Texas. Welcome back. The folks looking on here at the beautiful Texas Motorplex, the track that Billy Meyer built, the first real big super track. Texas Nitro Nuts. I believe that's the fans and not a food. But hey, the crowd goes wild. You gotta love it. Top Fuel semifinals right here. Let's take a look. It's Selzy, it's Amato, Dunn and Dixon all coming up as we get set to match up right here in the semis. The Tenneco Automotive Top Fuel team, Joe Amato needs to win this round. He wouldn't. Gary Selzy with a sparkling 455, another 320 miles an hour. And Joe, that's gotta hurt.
Joe, you guys had no chance but to load it up. You knew he was going to run that kind of number.
Yeah, Steve, you're right. You know, they've been running, they had the edge because they were running 50s and we were running 60 flats and high 50s. And we had to take a chance. And in racing, this is no time to be a coward when you get right that close to the Winston Championship where you're going to, you know, maybe give a run at it. But we'll have to just try and see what happens for the next couple weeks and try and win some races. And looks like we're stuck in third. Maybe we can get around Corey.
No one's ever called Joe Amato a coward.
You might as well go out swinging. Here is Dale Armstrong and the Miller Lite team. Got that neat little road racing scoop on top there. They got Mike Dunn looking to win one. For Darrell Gwynn and Team Mopar, and yes, himself, 459. Great run, Team Mopar in the finals. Let's go to the pits and Laura Bird.
And Bob, it just might be D-Day here in the Mopar pit because Mike, 3 consecutive final round losses to Gary Selzy. 2 years without a win. A weekend where you've struggled and come back.
Well, I'll tell you, it's tough. You know, we've got 3 final rounds, but I'll tell you, this Team Mopar, I mean, we got to run pretty good. You know, we're a little hard on parts that last run, but, you know, I'll tell you, this Mopar's running pretty good, and they're going to step up. You know, Selzy's running awfully good, 455. We're going to need to run a little bit better, but Ken, Vinny, and the crew, I know they can do it. We're going to try and step her up a little bit for the final and see what happens. Hopefully it ain't a tire smoker and it's a good side-by-side race. That's what I'm hoping for.
So there you go, Bob. A good side-by-side race, and boy, if anybody can show it to us, it's Mike Dunn, like he has so many times so far this season. So Darrell's over here giving him a big wink, and Steve, everybody here has their fingers crossed.
Yeah, they better. A clean car is a quick car, and Gary Selzy desperately fighting to keep that #1 for yet another season. But you got to wonder how long Mike Dunn is going to be your punching bag.
Boy, I don't know. You know, Mike and Vinny, those guys are tough over there, and they're way, way overdue. Jim Allen's been doing a great job, and the car's been running extremely well. So Team Winston's hope we can give it to him one more time.
You're starting to breathe a little easier in this whole championship thing?
You know, Steve, I thought I would, but I'll tell you what, I'm a mess. All weekend. This championship, like I said, it's just killing me. And, you know, my father-in-law is home in Kerman right now. I hope it's cold because he's got like 3 jackets on. We're all superstitious, and he's trying to do something different to keep us winning.
You're always a mess, Bob Fry.
Oh, my. We're going to take a look at that final round here in just a little bit. Selzy with a 4-2 lead. Of course, he won 3 of them in finals, an unprecedented back-to-back fashion. We are seeing great racing. This is why NHRA Winston drag racing is so great. Well, if a clean car is a fast car, there are no fast cars in Hazard County. Hey, if you'd like a daily help in a race and romance and Roscoe P. Coltrane, don't miss the Dukes of Hazzard. Weekdays at 5 Eastern right here on America's Country Home, TNN. We're going to take a look at our final rounds, all coming up from the Revell Nationals next on TNN Motorsports.
TNN's exclusive coverage of the 13th Annual Revell Nationals is brought to you by the Home Depot, where low prices are just the beginning.
All right, sports fans, we got the finals coming up from the aforementioned Revell Nationals, Texas Motorplex, just outside of the Big D. There's the Big Y. Jim Yates, the split fire machine, hasn't won since Pomona. And he's taking on WJ, who is wrapped up the championship and just adding to his points total right here.
Warren Johnson would race Jim Yates for no money and no points. Apparently Friday night after Yates had run, he went over to Warren. He said, you know, if you can't set the record, reset it under these conditions, you're a no racing son of a gun. Warren hadn't planned to set the record. He juiced it up, went out there and slammed it. He wants Yates right now. He just wants him for personal reasons, Bob.
Jim Yates won this race in 1996 when he beat Kurt Johnson in the finals. Jim Yates won this race last year when he beat Warren Johnson in the finals. Let's see if he can pick up the win right here. Warren Johnson looking for his 72nd national event win, second only to Bob Glidden, who's out there with 85. The finals in pro stock from the Revell Nationals at the Motorplex. We started with 5 brands of cars. As we mentioned early in the show, it's come down to 2 hot rod Pontiacs. Jim Yates got out of the gate first, then he got sideways almost at half track, and Warren Johnson at 695, 199 miles an hour, gets the win. The arithmetic for Yates, 796, 128. That is the worst reaction time Warren's had in a couple of races, but it didn't make any difference. 400s in the bank for the 2-time Winston champ on the far lane. He was right with him till about half track, and then watch this. Right near the center line, and this baby is history. Warren Johnson's 9th win on the year. And I guarantee you, Warren will tell you, we've won 9. That means we've lost 11 this year. That's the way the professor goes at it. Look at Yates, almost from the time he dropped the hammer, he was out of the groove and almost out of the lane. Great win for Warren Johnson. Steve?
Miss Winston, Jackie Beck with another gold man for Warren, and that was just for personal pleasure right there.
Well, no, it's just about winning races. I don't take anything out on anybody. I'm just trying to win races. It doesn't get personal with me.
695, not a bad parting shot.
Well, the track is going away. It's getting a little tricky out there. I'm sure Jim had about the same problems I had. It was sliding around out there, and it's just who decided to stay in it the longest.
Okay. Thanks, Warren Johnson. He's the Revell Nationals champion. Got the hardware to prove it, Bob.
71 wins, 114 finals. Warren, you the man. Little handshake there from Jim Yates. We got the funny cars sitting down there under the bridge, but Warren's just going to run away and hide. The battle still for that 2 and 3 spot. We got 2 races to go. Can Jaggy hold off KJ? Jim Yates in the 4 and Mark Osborne in the number 5 position. The funny car final, it's going to be Dean Scoos of the Matco Tools Machine, John Force in the Castrol Championship car in the other lane. That's coming up next on TNN Motorsports. Scusa with a great effort at 491, but Forrest, hey, maybe that's why he's the champ. When he needs it, he gets it. A 486 for the win. He ran 478 qualifying, did everything but set the national record here this weekend.
What do you want me to say? Nobody here to interview me.
Oh, there'll be somebody there. John out in front now, and that 8th championship just might be inevitable. Steve?
Yeah, we do. John Forrest just out of the car, smiling, shaking hands with the people from Revell. Great job, champ, but you left 50 grand on the table.
A lot of competition here, yeah. My Revell guys in action. Left 50 grand on the table, but I tell you what, I tried to shallow stage it. I got a little nervous against the kid because I know what he can do. And I know John Howell from Castle told me, get out here and win a race, get your points back. And went after him, did it. Shook a little bit, trembled down through there, but, well, boy, make everybody happy. Makes us happy.
Talk about your recurring theme. Mike Dunn, Gary Scelzi, final round, 4th time this year. Dunn's lost 3 of them. Gary Selzy gets his 5th win of the year, 465, 300 miles an hour even. She was using herself up, but hey, win's a win.
How about 423?
In the point, Selzy starts to pull away. Mike Dunn, whose life is like the Groundhog Day movie, in the number 4 slot, and Kenny Bernstein hanging out in number 5.